Hey guys, today I'm here with Design Suite member Dawn Kay. I'm super excited for you to talk to her or hear her story about Design Suite because she is super creative. And if you're on the YouTube channel, you cannot help but see all the threads that are behind her on the screen. So welcome, Dawn. I'm so happy that you're here. And we're going to just have a little chat about Design Suite, about Design Bootcamp, and you being a creative. So let's start out with talking about what creative things you like to do, what you did before the program, any of your experiences in design or creativity, because you're quite the crafter and sewer.
Yeah, so for anyone who is on the YouTube channel and who's actually looking, if you didn't notice, I like to sew. And I learned how to sew when I was a kid in summer school. And I always had an interest in architecture and industrial design and all sorts of things that used your hands or were three-dimensional. I even had a blog, and I just loved being creative. And I would say that for Design Suite, I was always looking for something creative to do. And it's hard to find time for that outlet and to be able to be creative and not feel stressed because of time and because you want to make sure that you're getting the most out of that time that you're trying to be creative. And it's just a whole vicious cycle that keeps repeating itself.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially because as creatives, I'm just thinking about the processes. You sew, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
sewing process is not a short one. It's not a little
No,
one.
no, definitely isn't.
Okay,
You
will you
have to
tell us
plan.
what do you like to sew?
I actually like sewing clothes. I like sewing clothes and I like sewing bags. I did teach myself how to quilt during COVID, but I wouldn't say it is my passion. But I still love it and I think it's fantastic. And there are a lot of designers doing really amazing things with quilts, but my preference is clothes.
Yeah, I love it, which is so interesting because actually in our program, Dawn is an SVG designer, a Cricut and silhouette designer, and she's quite good at it. I mean,
Thank
really
you.
great, beautiful stuff. I just actually had a chance to review her stuff because Dawn was at our live retreat recently. And I will say this, like Dawn's kind of a superstar in our program because she will literally always turn stuff in, which I love so much. I think a lot of programs kind of, not that they discourage their people from turning things on, but they're not going to go out of their way to encourage it. I'm like, give us more work. Like show up, give us the submissions because we get so excited to see what you're working on. So I would love to talk about like, what are some of the things you are working on? What have you loved the most that you've been working on?
Well, I will say, just in terms of what attracted me to Design Suite, was a big piece of it was the mentorship. And so being able to turn stuff in and get better every single time was is just huge for me in terms of progress. Uh, what I really like about what I'm working on is I started working on Halloween stuff and fall stuff recently. And I worked through a lot of that. And I got to a point where I was able to start doing fabric design as well. And that for me was monumental because it was a personal choice that what I felt like what I really wanted to do was fabric design. And I found that through Design Suite in terms of a path in order to do it. So I've actually really started working on fabric design, uh, and I couldn't resist doing a little bit for Halloween, but I'm now moving on to Christmas and working on Christmas designs as well.
I love that so much. Do you feel like designing is easy, hard? Like, how's your feeling about design work in general?
It's organic for me. Like I find that for everything else, I was struggling to find time for it. And with design, I just design. I just I walk past my computer and I sit down and I'm like, oh, I could maybe do a little bit of this. And then hours go by and I think, oh, I haven't done anything else in my life. I've just been designing a little too long and I need to stop doing that and start being a little more focused with other things. But I'm having a blast. And I never thought it was possible.
That's now, why do you think it wasn't possible? Why do you think that was?
I didn't think it was possible because when you have so many other things going on in your life, I always like, I always had things where I wanted to do creative things, especially sewing, and I couldn't find time to do it. I couldn't feel like there was enough time to do it. But when I have a long-term goal and I know how to get there, I just know that in with little bits every single day and consistency, I can do it. And I've been doing it just with design work. I didn't think I had time, and I found a lot of time,
Yeah.
sometimes at the detriment to other things in my life, but I found the time.
I love it. I love that you did find the time. To be totally fair, Dawn, do you want to tell everyone, like, I mean, you work a full-time job. So that's part of the thing, right?
I work more than 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
And I was not a morning person, and I get up now early in the morning because I need to find the time.
Yeah, because you're motivated to do the thing that you love doing so much.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. I think that's really good for people who are aspiring to be designers. Like, there is a certain amount of sacrifice because you're so excited about what it is. It doesn't feel like a sacrifice, but in some degree it really is.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. But I think you have to think about, is it a sacrifice or is it something where it's also fulfilling at the same time?
Yeah.
And what I'm sacrificing, I don't think is as great as what I think I'm getting.
Oh, that's good, Dawn. That is real good. You are not the first of our designers to take up early mornings. And I know I'm a proponent of early mornings. I don't think it's for everybody. I used to be a night owl, but how do you think the early mornings have changed and helped your design work?
I think my design work is better in the early morning. And I did theater, so I love nighttime. And I often think that I can have a lot of really great creative things at night. However, early in the morning before everything starts, for me, just designing, my work seems better. And a lot of what I end up submitting for mentorship is stuff that I designed in the morning. I can't do that stuff at night.
I was just going to say, I feel like, especially as I've watched your progress over the months, your stuff has gotten substantially better. And I have wondered, is it this change to the early mornings that you are doing? Because it feels more creative. It feels like more put together. I think it's a combination of learning, right? And growing. As we make more stuff, we get better, period. That's all there is to it. But secondly, I think if you're finding the time for it and you're finding it early in the morning when your creativity is high, like there's like a lot of energy in that early morning, I do think that's really powerful.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, especially when you work full time, you are mentally exhausted. And it's hard to get creativity from something where you don't feel like you have the mental capacity to do it. So when you start fresh, it's a lot better. And also get sleep.
That whole sleeping thing, it's crazy.
It really is. But it makes a difference.
It makes a difference. It really does. I'll have people ask me, like, do you ever sleep, Karen? I'm like, oh, probably more than you. I sleep 8 to 9 hours a night. I was like, because I need it, because I can work at such high energy and capacity in my design work, in my teamwork, in my program. And it's literally because I'm getting more rest than you. Yeah. And for you, getting more rest than others out there. I think that's such a good piece of advice. So getting that sleep. I would love to hear about your transition. So you came to a design boot camp. I would love to hear, wait, first of all, why did you join a design boot camp? I'm always fascinated. Everyone's answer is different. You're like, what is this? Okay. I'd love to know that. And then second, your transition from boot camp into Design Suite. What did that look like?
So I spent a lot of time trying to figure out, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? How am I going to be creative? And I had a manifestation board, and I still do. And on that board were certain things, including where I wanted to be able to make money from this room. And I was looking at Instagram. I saw an ad from you, and I said, okay, I've been saying I want a way to make money from this room. Where and how can I do it? And this could be an option. I was skeptical, but I said, given the cost, I don't have that much to lose, and let's go for it. And I went through boot camp. And each day I was tuning in after work. Sometimes I'd watch if I had a lunch break, if I had a little bit of time, I'd try to watch. And each day I went, oh my goodness. Oh, this is amazing. And there were so many just breakthroughs, even if it was things I already knew, but just needed to hear again. And also just what the possibilities were and what that potential was. And the fact that I felt like I didn't know how to get there. A year ago, I had watched a fabric design course and I said, this is what I want to do, but I didn't know how to do it. And to know that there was a way to do it is really what got me hooked. And it got me to sign up. And it changed my life just so quickly. Like it was just like a rush of information immediately. And like every day, I'm just grateful for having found Design Suite, for you having created the program. Like to think that I wanted to do something creative and I didn't know what that option was or where that path was. And you did it. And you were able to do it for so many people is just, it means a lot. It really does.
My gosh. Oh my gosh, Donna, I wasn't expecting that at all. At all. It makes me so grateful that you were able to transition. I always worry, always, because we give an awful lot of information in boot camp and we do it on purpose because we want to over deliver and we want to tell you really, really how I made money. Like, I mean, there is nothing, it is like laid out on the table. But then I always worry that we will overwhelm people when they go from boot camp to Design Suite because we don't mess around. Like I was actually just talking around to someone who's going to join the program today. And I was like, listen, we will match your effort. Like, if you're like, I want to do this, I'm like, we will meet you there because we're not like a regular program. I feel so responsible for you guys. And I think you guys know that I feel so responsible for you guys. And I want you guys to win so badly. Would you say that we try really hard to match your effort?
Oh, I think definitely, because just in terms of feedback and questions and meetings, and there's so many different avenues to learn and get things answered and make progress. There's so many different ways to do it. And just in terms of just the new format for mentorship, how you can submit something and get a response within 48 to 72 hours and have somebody take so much time to go through your work is just,
and you can do it as much as you want. That's the crazy thing.
I'd feel bad doing it.
We tell people you do it as much as you want. You want to turn in some stuff, we'll review it, we'll check it off, and we'll make sure that it works and that it will make money. That's the other thing about the program that really is very exciting to me is there's just nothing else out there that's like, we emphasize, we want you to be profitable. Like, we don't want you to be a designer who just makes stuff. That's not going to get you anywhere. We want you to figure out a way to be profitable. And you've had some really great successes with that very quickly.
I wouldn't say quickly, but
I say quickly because I've seen what usually takes place. And it does take a while to build stuff. It really does. So like the fact that you're still within first year, that you are getting some traction, I think is huge.
Oh, most definitely. And I didn't think I would be where I am when I started Design Suite.
Now, that's an interesting thought. Tell me why you didn't think you were going to, because you're making money right now, right? Not a lot of money, but you are making money.
I'm making money. And when I started Design Suite, I was looking at all the people who are or who were where I am now. And so I would start looking up everybody going, oh my goodness, oh their work is so good. And look what they've accomplished. And I didn't think I'd be in that same position. But if you put in the work and you put in the time and you're consistent about it, you can accomplish more than you ever thought possible.
Yeah. It is so incredible. How many months into the program are you? Like you're kind of in your second half, right?
Yeah, this is my 10th month.
Yeah. So but she's in year one. And we always tell everyone, you're not going to make any money in the first year. Like we kind of always say that just to like, be like, listen, like, let's just bring down the expectations. And yet I would say, I don't know what the percentage is, but it's high. Like I wouldn't say most of the members make money. Most of them within 12 weeks. But it's like, we're so worried that we're like, okay, you're not going to make any money. Just do what we tell you to do. But that's the thing we hear over and over again. If you do what we tell you to do, it's actually hard not to make money.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I mean, I think even people who, when they finally open their store and they've been in the program for a while, they still get sales.
I know. It's like, why did you wait? Why did you wait for so long to open your shop?
Yeah. Yeah. There was somebody at the retreat and I helped her open her shop and she already has a sale.
I know. Isn't that crazy? It took me a while to get her, but I was really, I was so excited. I was like, yes, you opened your shop. Yeah. You know what? I think it's such a testament, first of all, to you and like how creative you are and how you really love it and want it, but also I've been watching your progress and the stuff is getting better. And that is always the thing that we hope for, because if your stuff gets better, you sell better, right? And then you get more strategic and you get smarter. And so it really is an amazing process that you go through over the course of a year to become a really good designer. And you've really done that, Dawn. It's been phenomenal to watch. I would love for people to be able to check you out. Would you like to share some socials or Etsy or anything where people can find you?
Well, I am on Etsy and it is Dawn K Designs. And you can just go to dawnKdesigns.etsy.com. I am on Instagram and you can find me under Dawn K Designs as well. But a lot of what I'm doing, you will see it on Etsy.
Yeah. I love it. And she's in some other shops. She's doing a lot of different things. I'm really looking forward to watching Dawn just catapult into the future, because she's really doing some phenomenal things. We're also going to give a link for boot camp, you guys. If you loved this interview with Dawn, this link is her affiliate link into Design Boot Camp. If it helped you think, you know what, this might be something I really want to try as well, click on her link and come through a design boot through her link, because we love it when you see someone here that reminds you of you, that you're like, this is me, that I want this. And there's got to be a way to start. And the reason we do Design Boot Camp is so many reasons. The first is it's inexpensive. So you can feel the same way Dawn did. Like, how much could I lose if I really learned nothing? But I think Dawn can agree that we go out of our way to make it like the most expensive, cheap boot camp you've ever been to. Like, you go and we are going to tell you so many things. And then when we do lives, which we had one in October and we're going to do one in December, on top of everything else, was we give more information. Like we kind of like double dip in there, because we want to tell you more things that we see that are currently going on. So we want you to check that out. Any last piece of advice for anyone who's aspiring to have a creative career, Dawn?
I would say, if you want a creative career and you're on the fence and you're listening to this podcast, check out boot camp. And if you're unsure, but you know you really want it and you have the grit, just go for it. It is worth it. Yeah. And it's life-changing.
Yeah.
And don't be surprised when you discover that it's life-changing.
Because you heard it here first. Dawn told you it's life-changing. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. Dawn, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
I still love having Dawn in my program. It's amazing to have her here. And if you want to check things out, check out our show notes or the description. We cannot wait to see you in Design Boot Camp, and for it to be a great experience for you as well. Learn all you need to learn about what it really takes to be a designer who makes money and the kind of changes you have to make in your life, which it is change. There is change. But how phenomenal it really can be. All right, guys, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon. Hey, Hey, did you know that you can visit me at makeanddesign.com to learn more about this podcast and join my VIP group for weekly freebies? I can't wait to see you there.